Recently on our YouTube channel, we dropped a short film at our second location that we have named Site B. This was an awesome project that our team got to work on together, and a lot of people inside of that video left a ton of comments. We've gotten DMs and lots of questions, so we've been talking gear and cameras and film and all kinds of cool stuff in the DMs. But one of the most iconic things that people would have seen in the video is Ethan running around with his backpack in pursuit of Paul and myself through the wilderness. And that backpack has raised a lot of questions among our followers and people that have seen these videos and the other short edits that came out after Site B. So what we're doing tonight is we are at the barn at Site B, and I have Ethan here with me, and Ethan is going to dive into his bag and discuss the why behind his bag, because it's not just a normal defensive backpack like you or I might build. There's something special about this, and I think that as he dives into the why and the build specs and all of the components in the bag, you guys are really gonna like it. So let's get into it.
To start this off right, if you don't have a bag gun, get one. That's the most important thing that you need to get from this whole video. Secondly, when you start to build your bag and the gun that's going to be in it, build it with a purpose. Pick out something that you want to do, that you like to do, whether it's just as simple as protecting your family or as complex as predator hunting. Pick out what you want to do and build to that need. Let's dive into this. This backpack is a Gamut Plus. It is an older bag, but Vertex has a whole lot of bags that are very similar in size, so you can get a gun this size in a backpack. The beauty of this bigger backpack is it allowed me to keep a longer barrel. This is an 11.85 inch PWS. I went with PWS because they're piston driven, and that's what I wanted. So that's what I built. Gives me superior suppressibility. I'm running a hybrid, a Silencer Co. hybrid 46 cal can. Again, there's a common theme with this whole build, with this whole thing, and that's do it all. And when I say do it all, that is self-defense, predator hunting. I love killing things at night for fun. It's how you practice, how I practice. I don't care how you practice. I know how I practice, and I will go out and I will hunt things and I will kill them at night for fun. Being suppressed is very important. Have a lot of different guns. The 46 cal can, again, do all. Doesn't do this gun the best, but it works well on a wide range of hosts. The 11.85 inch barrel, again, keeps my speed up enough so I can take up to 500 yard shots with this gun. This gun drops subsonic just a hair over 500 yards. I haven't ever tried to push it past that. I didn't see a point. You lose so much energy at that point that it's not worth it. The light I have on this gun in the backpack all the time is a Streamlight HLX. It's about 1,000 lumens. It gets the job done for any close quarters self-defense that I would ever need this gun for, which is, again, another reason why I have it is self-defense beyond predator hunting. Bipod, Boschke weapon system, gets me stable to take those longer shots. And coming back to gun here, I have a Leupold. It's a 3-9. It's the VXR, so it has a fire dot right in the middle of the reticle. That fire dot in the middle of this scope allows me to have very good accuracy in a whole host of lighting conditions. It could be very bright out, I can change the brightness on it. It can be dim out, I can turn that red dot down really low, really dim, and it allows me to refine exactly what I'm aiming at. I have a 508T, an offset Holosun here, so I can engage super close quarters and shoot fast if I would need to. Again, moving back to gun, this is a PWS lower, pretty factory. The only two things that I added to this lower would be a Hyperfire trigger, and that gets me a lighter trigger pull so that I can take those 400 and 500 yard shots and get a clean break. And the second thing I added to the lower would be the Law tactical folder. That allows me to get it in a bag. Again, this gun wouldn't be what it is if it wouldn't be for that Law folder, because I couldn't get it in the bag. Standard SBA 4 brace. Doesn't look like a pistol. Doesn't feel like a pistol, but that's telling you it's a pistol, I guess. So again, 3-9 scope. The 3-9 scope blends well with the next thing to talk about, which is the PVS 30. And if you take a close look at this thing, I don't handle it gingerly. It floats around in this backpack and it bumps around up against this Boschke Ball Weapons bipod all the time. It's got nicks and scratches on it. It's a solid aluminum housing. This thing's like a sledgehammer, man. It's rated for up to 50 BMG recoil, and if I had to kill you with it, I could. It's solid. It's not like a PVS 14. I've seen many a PVS 14 manual gain knobs bent, snapped off. They're very light, very chintzy. And the reason why I spent the money on this device is because I knew I could keep it with me. I knew I could keep it in the bag, and I knew when I would grab it, it would work. Hands down, no questions asked, it would work. Pretty simple to clip in place. You got this fancy, we'll call it a beer koozie. Comes with it from Knight's Armament. That's gonna keep all that light from the optic from the PVS 30 and get it into that scope, and also keep surrounding potential threats from finding you as easily. As you can tell, guys, this is still an extremely unconventional build, and it still has a very specific purpose. This PVS 30 is hands down one of the most pivotal things to this whole build. This optic that's running right around $6,000 for this refurbished PVS 30. New, these guys run about 12 grand. And this is, again, a refurbished device from Knight's Armament, so who knows how many Taliban this thing's killed already. Never know. Could have bounced around in the back of Humvee, could have just sat in storage. But I have a PVS 30, and its main purpose in this build is so I can shoot at night. I can shoot at night with supplemental IR, or I can shoot without supplemental IR. And that all depends on ambient lighting conditions in any given night. Some of the key features on this PVS 30, this massive ring that you have up front here, is a focus ring. This guy allows me to get a crystal clear picture, to get perfect identification, so I know exactly who, or I mean what, I am shooting. Again, this thing runs on AA batteries. I'm pretty sure it can also run on a CR123 battery. And they advertise that these things can run on spent CR123 batteries. So don't throw away those used CR123s that your flashlight can no longer power up on, because supposedly this unit can. Haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna sometime. As far as the tube is concerned and the performance with this build, I did not get a spec sheet with this unit, and that is standard for all refurbished builds from Knight's Armament. None of them come with a spec sheet. It's kind of a shame, but after talking with a bunch of different people in the industry, everybody's saying these tubes are running right around 1600 FOM. Now, you may say to yourself, oh, that's a pretty low spec. Oh, that's not real great. You know, and that's true, but at the time that Knight's Armament was selecting these tubes, the process that they go through to select these tubes is very stringent. There's no specs, there's no dirt. The LPM, lines per million, is higher on these tubes than on others. And all of this is extremely important so that when you bump this magnification up and you zoom in on that phosphor screen on this PVS 30, you get the clarity that you're looking for. And that's why this unit is so expensive. You can buy a dedicated digital night vision device for $500. You can get cheap ones, but you're not gonna have the magnification or the clarity with the higher magnifications. There's only so much you can do with some of this cheap stuff, and that's why I stepped up my game and I jumped straight up to the PVS 30. Not only is it bulletproof, not only could I beat you to death with it, but it gives me the clarity to make proper IDs at night. I mentioned FOM, and as I talked about FOM, I realized that probably not everybody completely understands FOM. So FOM is 3 different measurements that a tube in a unit is graded on. And those 3 measurements are averaged together to create one number. And that one number is a general overview of these units. That was the only spec that, after talking with a bunch of different professionals, that I kind of got a feel for about these units, because again, I didn't get a spec sheet with it. There's a lot to consider when you're purchasing a night vision device, and FOM is just one of the specs that you can look at to get an idea of how good or how bad a specific tube is in a unit that you're looking to purchase. One of the next very important things in this bag is a handheld thermal. And this unit right here, as you can see, I store it with the battery not clipped in it because I don't have it in a case. It gets bumped around, it gets beat up, it is what it is. I've bumped on the battery once or twice and learned to pull the battery to keep it from dying, so it's working when I pull it out. This unit, it's a Helion. It's an older model Helion. There is now currently 2 other revisions to the Helion model from Pulsar, and they do increase clarity quite a bit. Back in the day, this was a $3,500 optic. It's a 640 core, and you can get multiple different cores when you're looking at purchasing a thermal device, but the main 2 would be a 384 core, and then the next best thing would be a 640 core. And these 640 cores offer a lot more clarity when it comes to scanning and viewing. You're able to ID, instead of just looking at a thermal heat signature of a blob, you're going to be able to look at that person or that animal, and you're going to be able to say, oh, that's a cat, oh, that's a fox. And now, if you really spend a lot of time in the woods, you'll soon be able to start to tell the difference between a fox and a coyote in a thermal. It's not easy, it is possible. Again, thermal. I go back to this, and I keep coming back to this. It was one of the first more expensive devices that I purchased, and at the time, I kind of did it because there wasn't any weapons mounted units available. And one thing that a lot of people will jump to first, which I almost fell into the same mistake, is to buy a thermal weapons mounted unit first. And that can be a mistake, because you're going to find really quickly, if you only have a weapons mounted thermal, you're going to find yourself scanning with that rifle all the time, and it would be extremely fatiguing, and it's not efficient. I have spent hours and hours and hours behind this device. This device is light enough, I can hold it up to my face and scan. I can drop it and let it hang around my neck off of a lanyard that I have set up with mouth calls for calling in foxes and coyotes and whatever else decides that it wants to come see what's squeaking and squealing and dying. Beyond the thermal, one of the next more very important aspects that is almost always with my backpack is this tripod. It's not a super expensive tripod. If you get on Bog Hunt's website, it's their Death Grip tripod. You can buy them for around $150. This is their aluminum version. Again, I threw weight out the window with this build. I didn't buy the titanium or the carbon fiber legs. I just got the aluminum ones because I didn't care about an extra pound. I'm still young and I'm still strong. So scratch the weight issue. Some of the most important things in this backpack I didn't even touch on yet, and I would say that would be the medical. Again, I have a cat tourniquet here, some other random goodies in this medical bag, but what allows me to shoot that long distance is knowing the gun. This is a really old school rangefinder. Probably should get a better one. Probably should get a smaller one. Probably should get a lighter one. But again, I threw weight out the window with this backpack. Especially when I threw the 3-pound PVS 30 in there. That throws weight out the window very quickly. Knowing the range, knowing the gun. I chronographed this gun. This gun, I know my speed at the muzzle. I put in all the specs into the Hornady ballistics calculator, which then gave me my drops because I didn't want to figure it out the hard way by doing it manually. So I put it in the ballistics calculator and I verified it. I have successfully made hits from 25 yards out to 500 yards with this rifle. And I have done it during the day and I have done it at night. Specifically in the Site B video, I made a 400-yard shot at night in the Site B video, which if you guys have not saw, you should definitely go back and watch that video. To summarize this all up, guys, one of the, again, the most important things that I can say that you need to do when you're building out your bag gun, because you need one if you don't have one, is pick a purpose. Whether that is defending your family, which this gun is capable of, or whether that is shooting 400 yards at night, or whether that is just having a gun with you so that you can go to the range after work and get some plinking in, you know, that's perfectly acceptable too. For as heavy as this backpack is, I don't carry it around a lot. I don't carry it into the grocery store, but it's always in the truck with me. I always have it within a couple hundred yards of me so that at any given moment, if I needed to take a long range shot, I know this gun and I know I could do it. Don't make me. Maybe this backpack build isn't for you. Maybe it's too gruesome to think about shooting coyotes at night. Maybe this PWS is too heavy. Maybe you don't like the idea of beating somebody to death with a PBS 30. Whatever it is that's keeping you from this gun, don't let it keep you from building a bag gun. Build a bag gun, get that part done. But if you have questions, if you have comments, get down in that comment section. It's gonna be a mess. Let us know what you're thinking. And if you want help, I wanna help you build your bag gun. I wanna help you with anything night vision related you could possibly want to ask me about. My Instagram is @TacticalSense, and I would love to help you with your night vision, with your bag gun, with whatever it is that you think that you want somebody's advice that has built a bag gun with purpose before. I will gladly give you my opinion because it's only just an opinion. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.